I'm David Hernandez, and I want to welcome you to the Old Bridge Votes Council Candidates 2025. On November 4th, Old Bridge residents will go to the polls to elect 6 candidates for the 6 ward seats on the Township Council. We're going to bring you interviews with all of the candidates here on Old Bridge TV. I will introduce each candidate, and they will have 1 minute to tell you something about themselves. Then I will ask questions about various topics. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to a question, and each will have a 1-minute rebuttal. Before we begin, off camera, the candidates drew straws to determine who speaks first. It is my pleasure to welcome our candidates to our final segment for the Old Bridge Votes Council Candidate debates. So welcome both of you. I'm going to introduce you in just a few moments and give you an opportunity to say your intro and bio. But first, let's introduce you to our viewers and the Old Bridge residents. So we have 2 candidates and no incumbent, so both are vying for the Ward 6 seat this November in the election. And the first candidate that we have is Nina Jochnowitz, and she's representing the Democratic Party. And then representing the Republican Party, we have Carl von Stetten. And I want to welcome both of you to our debate here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. So off camera, both candidates pulled our straws. And the candidate that is going to be going first for all of our questions is going to be Nina. So as we move into our first questions, I'm going to ask Nina if you could introduce yourself to the viewers with your 1-minute bio.
Brilliant. My name is Nina Jochnowitz, and I'm running for council. And I wanted to say that while I am a Democrat, I'm running to represent everybody in the community. I've been here for more than 25 years and proudly served in the community as an advocate. And I run on that energy. Let me dive into my background as I'm very fiscally conservative. I'm a single parent. I raised my son here in Old Bridge, and I worked hard to maintain my home, save for my retirement, and I've saved enough that my son will go to college and finish up college debt-free. Professionally speaking, I came from a pharmaceutical background. I worked as a scientist for many, many years, over 35 years. And these days I'm in IT, but I also work in doing wildlife rehabilitation. Many people in this town know me for the animals that I rehab. Beyond my home and career, I regularly assist people in our community with food insecurities and crises, potholes and everything else. They call me all the time. I have a hands-on approach to all of these things, and I hope this truly reflects my personality.
Well, thank you, Nina, for telling us a little bit about yourself. And Carl, welcome. And
thank you.
Why don't you please give us a little bit insight into who you are?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Carl von Stetten. I've been a proud Old Bridge resident for 13 years, married to my beautiful wife, Stephanie, of 15 years, and I have 3 children that all go into the Old Bridge public school system. I have a 20-year career in IT and operations, and currently I am an associate director for operations over at Rutgers University. I'm very much looking forward to all of this. I'm looking forward to a good debate.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you both for coming. And this is what democracy is all about. We talk about our issues. It's been a pleasure to meet all of the other candidates. So looking forward to learning about both of your positions and allowing the residents to learn that as well. So Nina, you're the lucky one that goes first. So what I'd like to ask you first is, and this is going to be really interesting because every other segment we've had an incumbent. So I find this fascinating that the 2 of you are now coming in and it's fresh and new ideas and injecting life into the council. So can you tell us why you're deciding to run, Nina?
Well, as Carl probably knows pretty well in his 13 plus years here, we've had a big mess in Ward 6. They ignore us. We're the oldest ward in our township, and we're treated like an orphan child. The stores are half empty. The streets are not repaired. We have a street that's around the corner from Carl that at this point is 51 years. It's not been repaved. We have neighbors and community members who complain about issues going on in our town, and they go unmet. And that's even with me as a person who calls up the town on a regular basis, and John Murphy. We are really an orphan child. And so I want to bring to this community more refreshing ideas. I want to protect our wildlife, and I want to protect the lands that we have, because there's a discussion about clearing lots more land in our 6th ward. and I want to protect our community's integrity and ask the community hasn't been listened to, and we need to do that. So, and that's not by way of the previous the gentleman John Murphy, who was a councilman, but it's mostly by way of the entire council. There are 5 people between John Murphy and the 3 council at large and the mayor who represent 6th Ward, and we're ignored. We are just ignored. They don't ask us our opinions, and they don't care, and that's horrible, and I don't want that to continue, and I can guarantee you, as Kate pretty much knows and most everybody knows about me, I'll make it known what people want.
Well, thank you. We have about 30 seconds, so for those that might not live in Ward 6, can you give us a real quick description of where Ward 6 is?
Ward 6 is in the most southern part of Old Bridge. You keep going and you can get to Englishtown Raceway Park, where we had in 1978 a Grateful Dead show. Was the largest populated show in New Jersey or ever at that time. It turns out that Jerry was married to a woman who lived, I think, in Englishtown, as far as I remember. It's a good neighborhood.
Well, thank you for the quick history rundown. Yes. That's wonderful. And Carl, again, very similar to Nina in the sense that you're coming in and have some fresh ideas. So I think it's really important for us to know why you're deciding to run for a council seat.
Well, one of the reasons why I'm running is because I want to give back to the community. This community has been great to my family for the past 13 years. My children are involved in the recreation program. They're involved with dance. My son's been involved with soccer, and I've been on the soccer board since 2019. Ward 6 especially, there are some things I disagree with you on some of the things with respect to, the being like an orphan child and not. I've spoken to some of the councilmen. I've spoken to some of the councilwomen on the council currently, and I've raised issues about paving and things like that. There are issues there, but they do listen. They have started to pave. I know one of the big issues and I've mentioned to councilmen is actually on your road, West Greystone. There's a really bad patch there. After I mentioned it, within about a month, they're going to start paving that within, from what I heard, within the next month or 2. So that's one of the reasons. And I want to get things done. I have a customer service background. I've been associate director for operations at Rutgers. And I can give you a quick example. I had a student call me about a week ago with an issue with pest control in one of the dorms. They had some bug issues and things like that. I made sure that it was done for this student. This student was getting nowhere with Res Life. They were getting nowhere with anybody else. I contacted them. I contacted the pest control company directly, had them there within an hour. So I'm a big proponent of getting things done on time, and getting things done for everybody in Old Bridge.
That's wonderful. We're going to talk a lot about getting things done,
Mm-hmm.
but as the course of our debate goes, we each get a rebuttal. So is there anything that you'd like to address that Carl mentioned?
Well, there's a lot of things, but yes, West Greystone Road has been on the calendar to be repaired. It's a very heavily traveled road.
Mm-hmm.
It has a number of problems and curves and craziness and mayhem on that street. We have, I don't know if there's much to rebut in the sense that we really need to focus in on our neighborhood, and that has not been. And I hate to rebut you on that one, sweetie, but the reality is that they ignore us. And you'll get to know it as you sit more into the council meetings and then sit as an observer, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
That said, regardless of whether or not you win or I win, I expect that you're going to be standing there tormenting me, or I'll be tormenting you about things that need to be done, because that's what has to be done. We have to stand up for our community.
No, you can
Anyway,
keep going. I'll let you know.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But we have a lot of wildlife in Old Bridge, and we need to protect those very much so. I didn't mention that in the beginning, but
Yeah, and I know that's close to your heart, so we'll give you an opportunity to say that. Okay, so let's continue. The role of we're talking a lot about Ward 6, right? And obviously that's what you're going to be representing.
Mm-hmm.
So, in your idea, Nina, what is your role as a ward council person as it relates to the constituents?
what it is for every single other ward, it is to make sure things get fixed, make sure things get done, to focus in on issues. There's a house in Old Bridge in Ward 6 that pays $40,000 in taxes. They have no sewer, they have no direct water, they're well water and sewer and septic, and they're paying the highest taxes in this town. It's kind of insane to me. Not the biggest house too either. We need to
Is
address
it property? Do they have a lot of property?
Not much. Not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough for that. We have a lot of problems in our neighborhood where there's the balance of everything is going crazy, and we need to pull it back in and focus in on our community and get the questions that they want answered. I work on lighting all the time. There's problems up and down Englishtown Road where lights are broken, and you got to torment JCP&L, and I do that on a regular basis. Or I torment the local police when there's an issue that other persons won't call about, and of course Public Works. But we also have another problem in our neighborhood, which is that people want to get things done. People want to get businesses open and operating, and our town is very slow to get those things accomplished. They seem to work at snail's pace, and there's a question to me as to why that is occurring. But I haven't had that one answered, but it's happened to me myself, so it's frustrating.
Well, thank you for your answer. And Carl, as you look into the possibility that November the elections come and you envision yourself in that role, what do you see as your role there at Ward 6 and then along with the greater council?
Well, my role is to be the voice for my neighbors and the residents of Ward 6. It's to be to represent the ward on the council, passing laws, passing budgets, and to be that advocate. Nina talks about, the lights and things like that. Contact your councilman. We will get it done. I'm a big believer in getting things done within 48 hours. Like I have that with my team at Rutgers. I want to get at least not get things done in the sense of like having a light done, but getting them to the right people to get that done, and follow up. I think follow-up communication is the key. It's one thing to say to a councilman, "Hey, my light's out." Okay, and then I'll get it done. I'll get it done. But if you're not following up with them, saying, "Okay, did you get it done? Did you get it done?" Then that's part of the issue as well. Also, should be routing these issues to the different departments. If it's a zoning issue, route it to zoning department. If it's tax issue, route it to the tax department.
Nina, any response?
I think it's perfect. By the way, I think that's exactly what we do. I know that right now I do volunteer wildlife rehab, if those of you on TV land don't know. And the response is very important. I pick up the phone, except for right now. I pick up the phone.
We're a little busy right now.
Yeah, a little busy, exactly. But pick up the phone and answer people, and then I get back to people. Last night on the way to the council meeting, which I was late for, but I was late too as an attendee. I had to pick up an injured squirrel in our neighborhood, and I got back to her this morning to tell her how the squirrel was doing, because it was important. It was important to this lady who actually lives in the 4th ward, not in the 6th ward, but I picked it up. I don't usually do those things, but picking up, that is. But it's really, to getting back to people and doing the things that you need to do is really important. And folks who know me know I do that. Kate definitely knows I do that.
Well, thank you for your heart on that. And Carl, anything that you'd like to respond to?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. So, one of the interesting things is we've talked about your role, and both of you said, answer questions, fix, advocate, and being that, not that you're new to the town, but that you would be new to the council, how are you going to get known to your people? How are you going to make yourself known? So if we could put maybe 1 minute on for each to answer that, please.
Oh, gosh. It's fun to be first, but not first. How do you get known to people? Well, I'm out there on Facebook, which is rather annoying to some people, and myself included. But, you get out there and you speak to people, and more often than not, I get positive feedback. There are always some negative feedback, but you get out to people and you try to enrich people's lives. I was at the Old Bridge Day for the wildlife, and to get people to know what we do so that they would understand that even here in Middlesex County, we haven't had a wildlife rehabber for nearly 30 years. So getting my license really changed the compass completely. I cover Middlesex, Monmouth, Ocean, Union counties, and so they get my name from these things. But they also know that I'm there for them, and regardless of what the issue is, animal or, in our neighborhood, animal or otherwise.
So you would have an open door policy.
I already do, yes.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. And Carl, how would you connect with your constituents?
Again, be out there. All these events, Old Bridge Day, as Nina mentioned, we had a great time there. It was nice to talk to everybody that was at Old Bridge Day. In my duties as Old Bridge in the board of directors for soccer, I'm at rec soccer every week. Thousands of kids, about 1,000 kids, lots of parents. I'm talking to them. We talk a lot about different issues within the town, different issues within Ward 6, because there are a lot of board members actually from Ward 6 as well. So I've talked to them about that. You know, knocking on doors for the campaign, which I think we'll get to later. But being out there and being available is a key. For me, Facebook, I have used Facebook in the past. I've limited it. I'm not a big fan of it. There's a lot of negativity on there, and there's been a lot of negativity in the past year on social media that has affected this town. You could argue that it's divided this town. I don't want to be a divider. I want to be there for everybody in our ward, regardless of political affiliation, anything like that.
Great answers. It's good. You know, look, the most important thing, and I believe with looking at the elected officials is accessibility, right? Especially in local politics. These are the towns where we live. Some of us work in. Our kids go to the school or went to the school. People have got to be able to get a hold of you. So I think it's wonderful statements that you both have made. So getting back on script, let's jump back on. So Nina, your goals, your vision for what you can do for Ward 6 and Old Bridge in general.
Fill the stores that are empty. Find out what is keeping those stores from being filled. Getting better businesses in those stores so that they're successful. Stopping the overdevelopment. Making sure that whatever development would be occurring is actually being discussed with the residents in that community. Because what's happening now is a plan gets thrown in and we hear it late. We hear all of a sudden the zoning, the planning, this and that. People come to the council meetings. It's too late. It's not. We need to be in the planning stages. If there's something wants to be put up, you can't. It's unfair to our community to just drop it in, and that's not what we moved in for. I mean, I moved in because I'm living in the middle of the woods, thankfully, and I love that. And other people moved in because they wanted to be on major roads or they wanted to be closer to their neighbors. But that doesn't mean we want to be on top of each other. And even if we do, we want to be able to have some say in that. And that's what the needs are. And as a council person, is to collect that information and get it out there. Have regular meetings, real meetings with the town residents, and not just go to the council meeting, have them talk to the council, and then never answer. That's horrible. And by the way, that should change.
All right, wonderful. And your goals and visions?
Well, my goals and visions are the residents' goals and visions. Getting feedback from them is key. Like I said, being accessible, communication with residents, meeting with them on a regular basis to get that feedback of what needs to be done in Ward 6. Infrastructure prioritization, paving roads, lights, cleanup of Vets Park, which some of that has already been done, and there's more to be done. We were talking about that in the last Parks and Rec Committee meeting. I know they're going to be doing the new softball fields. They've already replaced security cameras over there. They've replaced the roof of the bathroom. So just continue that cleanup and continue to have Vets Park have a better reputation to be a more safer park. And to continue the public safety and to continue the fiscal responsibility of the municipal side of your tax money. Any response?
Yeah, Veterans Park has been a really horrible eyesore for Lower 6th Ward, and a lot of the community residents have done their due diligence cleaning it up instead of what should have been done by the township, and in respect to the veterans and in respect to the community that we live in. But we really need to have the community input to what gets done in the 6th Ward, because right now there's a lot of plans that are rolling and things that are being discussed, and the community needs to know, because we see it's not fair. It's, you know, we didn't buy into this, and we bought into something very different, and I'm sure everybody can say there's different things, but we have to be there for the community. It's not as much a rebuttal. I love the word rebuttal, but quite honestly, it's really to finish your sentences or you to finish mine. I think that's one of the things. Yes, we're both, by the way, newbies in a sense, right? We're both running now, but in reality, I've been here 25 years. He's been here 13 years. We see a lot of crap, and we got to fix it.
Yeah. So instead of rebuttal, I'll say comments. How's that?
Yeah.
Do you have a comment?
Yeah, and I think part of the reason for that with the park being an issue is on the Parks and Recs committee, there wasn't a lot of Ward 6 representation until myself, and there's another gentleman that is also on that committee now. And we've made it a priority to look at, Ward 6 parks, open space, and to really, get that better reputation for Vets Park, because it's a beautiful park. It really is. There's a wonderful soccer field, nice baseball fields, playground, basketball courts. There used to be a skate park there. It's not there anymore, but I could see them making pickleball courts or something like that to really, get to drive the residents to be there. Maybe have some more events, like not necessarily an Old Bridge Day, but have like a flea market there or something like that to get more foot traffic there at the park.
So I actually want to add a question because Nina, you asked something and then you just spawned something about having events and then some empty stores. And we have an economic development department and we have a chamber of commerce. So as a Ward 6 council person, how would you work with economic development or the chamber of commerce to try to get some of these stores filled and events? So
well,
please.
we have to get in good businesses, right? And we can't give away things. That's what's been going on in this town. Pilot, pilot, pilot. Pilot money was given to this, it was created in a sense to allow for businesses in blighted communities. And I think all of us in this room can agree that there is no blight in this community overall, but there are issues. And so we need to stop that from happening right now, because right now you and I, all of the residents of Old Bridge, are now subsidizing the 5 million square feet of warehouse space that pays no taxes. And if they did pay taxes, we would have more people who work in the offices who get things done faster. We might have better equipment or whatever it is that the township needs in order to do that. And certainly what we would be doing is we wouldn't be running with a deficit as we are and having to subsidize what is not coming from the state right now. So
actually, I'm going to respectfully disagree a little bit on the pilot. I've done a lot of research on the pilot programs. I hear this a lot. I hear pilot, 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 like you said. Pilot is payment in lieu of taxes, and it's a tool. It's a tool that's used by developers to, it's a 30-year, 20-year, whatever the agreement is. That's a set amount that's paid to the township, and it can go up in value depending on what the agreement is for inflation and whatnot. But those warehouses, they also pay tax money on the land tax for the land itself. Maybe not the dwelling because that's the pilot agreement, but they do still pay taxes on the land itself. Pilot programs, from my understanding, that's what I've done a lot of research on to see, what that was, to get the actual facts and know what it is, because I've heard a lot of misinformation on Facebook, and I wanted to know for myself, because a lot of back and forth on the comments and things like that, and I wanted to really research and understand what the pilots mean. And it does help a little bit with taxes, because those developers are able to spur that economic development. And it's not just warehouses that have pilots, there's restaurants and businesses that also could get that as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Any additional comments? You have 1 minute if you like.
Well, it used to be pilots were like an anchor, right? You create a business and you'd pull in a store. I'm going to say like the East Brunswick Mall, Macy's, right? Or Sears, whichever. But the reality is that the anchor, there is no anchor in this, because unfortunately they're paying very little. And we're going to have to spend a lot of money, because we're going to have to increase the equipment in the firehouse, and that's all volunteer. And we have to increase, we might even have to build a new firehouse, which was in discussion. And I brought that up when they were discussing it at the time. And they said, oh, we'll put a few $100,000 towards a new firehouse. But a firehouse costs several $1 million. I mean, so big deal. I mean, a few $100,000 for you and I is a lot. But for the developer, it isn't, because he knows he's still getting away scot-free. And as far as land taxes, you're right. Okay, they're paying a land tax. But that land tax, the value of that land tax is nothing. If you had put in the $1 million houses that are right down the road, you would have had a lot more in investment return than the 5 million square feet of square feet. 800 acres, more than 800 acres has been cut down for that. And how much is the average square footage of a home? I know that I'm over, so I apologize, but I would say it's a quarter of an acre is in most people's lots. It's a quarter of an acre to a half an acre. So 800, you're talking about what in homes and what in taxes. So they talk about no more homes, no more houses, no more overdevelopment in that way. But they've already put in Eric De Palma, your buddy, Eric DePalma said, what do you want? Do you want homes or you want this? You want this or this? He's had 10,000 houses built since that man has come into office, and I think he's a good man, but I think he was wrong on the mark on that one.
So let's put a pin in that one. You went a little bit over, so I want to be fair.
Sorry,
so
I
no,
apologize.
look, this is what the debate is. Please
okay.
take some time.
And I would almost rather have I shouldn't say that. You're right about the 10,000 houses. I mean, that's going to generate more need for infrastructure if you have 10,000 houses. Think about it. If you have 10,000 houses with an average of, say, 2 cars, that's 20,000 more cars in Old Bridge. And in Ward 6, do you know what kind of traffic nightmare that would be if we did that? I mean, and yes, the truck traffic, I know you're going to say about the truck traffic, but that would be hopefully some kind of agreement there where we would build some infrastructure to get them onto Route 9 or to get them away from our back roads and Englishtown Road and Texas Road.
All right, so we're going to jump to a new question.
Okay.
We'll give you an opportunity to jump in a little bit later.
Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So
I'll just have to keep this on mine. I'm going to grab your pen.
Yeah. If you need one too, I'll give you one.
Yep.
So Nina, as we shift gears, I'm very interested in what the two of you have to answer with this, being that you're really hitting the campaign trail, and doing this in Ward 6 as newcomers. Is what are you hearing from the people? Like what's on their heart? What are the challenges that they're asking you specifically to help them with? Okay. So what are you hearing? 2 minutes.
Garbage everywhere, strewn everywhere. The cleanup. I have been begging for bulk garbage pickup it's almost a decade now. I see it on West Greystone Road. I call up our Public Works to tell them when there's dumps on the lines or down by Duhernal. It's disgusting. It's offensive. And if we had bulk garbage pickup, that would be great. The other thing, while Facebook does have its negativity, I was seeing some complaints about the rates that people pay for garbage collection. Some people pay $70, some people pay $165 for the same company and the same collection times and the same volume capacity of the garbage cans. That's wrong. I don't know why that has not been addressed, but if somebody's paying $70 and you're paying $160, I'd be a little pissed. And these are the things I hear about. They don't want to pay more. And one more thing, I hate to be a Debbie Downer on this one. Old Bridge Township, we voted on the Energy Consortium. This is a program that was going to save the residents individually money on their electric bills. This was voted on, and a popular vote won, and the township has done nothing for the last 4 years. We have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And before that, we had a signage, and they said, no, go back to a vote. And we went to a vote, and a public vote, it was passed, and they have not done their job. So when you talk about what we need to do on the council, we need to do our jobs. And we need to make sure that we affect positive change. And we need to make, this isn't something that hasn't been done. One more thing, with respect.
Yeah, 20 seconds.
Eric DePalma always said, no more houses, no more houses, no more houses. What I want to make sure with the residents to know is that since Eric's been in, more than 10,000 houses have been built. And it's not about more houses. It's about, he said that instead of houses, it would be warehouses. And we've had both. And so the question is why?
What are you hearing on the campaign trail, and is it different than what Nina is hearing?
I'm hearing a lot of positivity. Residents love this town. They love what we offer. They love the Parks and Recs program. They love the schools. They love the public safety, and we have a very safe town. And they do get good value for their tax dollars. I mean, we only give 16 cents for every dollar to the municipal side of your taxes. 60 cents is to the schools, and then the rest is to county and library and whatnot. AA plus bond rating. I mean, it's a fiscally stable town, and they love that. And there's things like roads being paved. That's a lot of the issues. Lights being out, infrastructure things. Those are a lot of what I'm hearing. I've also heard that they like to see people working together on the council. I know there's a little bit of back and forth sometimes in those meetings, but for the most part they do a good job of working together, and that's what the residents are really telling me, and even knocking on doors and being at the soccer field and being in the band and all of that.
Any comments on what Carl has said?
Well, there's a lot of traffic. And if you get on the road, you work from home most of the time, and I work from home most of the time. And so we don't see it as often as until we're running to the store, but there's traffic. To get to this building right here in the municipal complex has taken me over 30 minutes, and I'm over by Salk Middle School. It's way too much time. As far as widening the roads and fixing the roads on Englishtown Road, if they're to put more warehouses in, which has been discussed down in lower 6th Ward, they would have to widen the road to 60 feet. That is a requirement by the county. And that would take away people's front yards, a lot of people's front yards. They're not going to be happy with this. We need to address things. By the way, truck traffic is horrible, but we need to address things and take them face on. They're not taking them on in the council. They're ignoring the accidents on Route 9. They're ignoring the mortality, the rates that we're seeing in this town with accidents. And we have to focus in on this crap and get it fixed. It's unfortunate.
Any additional comments?
Yeah, a lot of what you're talking about with Englishtown Road is they're county roads. So we have to work with the county and fight for that. And I do agree with you that there's a lot of traffic and a lot of accidents. I mean, I live right near Route 18 on Englishtown Road, and the amount of accidents I've seen in my 13 years here I've called 911 quite a few times for people because there was a lot of accidents on that road. That's one of the main priorities I have. I would love to be able to work with the county, try to prioritize the county on getting some more traffic lights in that area, try to make those roads safer as we have more traffic.
Yeah, and look, I agree with you guys on the traffic. I mean, it's something that needs to be addressed. Out of my office, right on Route 516,
Your home.
I actually keep cones because my office is in the second floor corner, and every 3-4 months, someone rear ends on 516. I come out with the cones. I already know what to do. So the county roads are certainly challenging because we have to work with others. And that leads us right into the next question, is not just working with others on the council that might not see eye to eye with you, but how are you going to work with maybe the mayor's administration if it's not the same, the business administrator, the county, the freeholders? What is your plan coming in new, forging those relationships and being able to effectuate your voice to get your agenda?
Well, luckily enough, I actually know most of the county commissioners, formerly called freeholders. But that doesn't make for a better relationship, if you ask me. You still have to reach out, torment, and bother them until you get what you need done. But the reality is that you have to work together. As people know me, and whether they like me or not, they know that I pick up the phone and I answer it. It doesn't, and I make sure things get done. And I don't really care what party you're in. I just try to do it. And affect positive change. But we have to work with the county. And you probably travel down Englishtown Road on the way home every day, so you see just the traffic, and you also see some of the illegal traffic. And I'm not talking about individuals, I'm talking about the types of vehicles on the road. We in the 6th Ward are considered also Texas, because not just the Texas road, but because they only have one officer assigned to the lower 6th Ward. It's not good, it's dangerous. There's been a lot of problems, and to your point, accidents. Unfortunately, a man passed away on my street in a car accident, and then, right around the corner there were 2 young ladies. It was horrible, and the traffic, the accidents, alcohol, drugs, whatever. We have to do more.
So, Carl, coming in, should the voters select you, how will you work with others to effectuate change?
I think a lot of it is listening. A lot of times when we're, listening to the radio, listening to the news, it's very one-sided. I want to hear the other side of things. I want to listen. I want to be able to come to a consensus and an agreement with the other side of things, county, state, whoever we work with, and anybody in the town itself. I'm a big believer in that. I've evolved with that, and I think on the local level that needs to happen. And I said, I'll help residents. I don't care, like Nina said, I don't care what party you are. I don't care what, I'll help you no matter what, and we'll get things done, and we'll work to get things done and continue to get things done with, hopefully with some of the councilmen that are currently there. That's a big thing for me, listening. And that's whenever I interview people for my job, for staff members that work for me, I ask, well, how do you handle an irate employee or something like that? I want to hear, I listen to them. And I think that's very important.
Any comments, Nina?
Yeah, you have to listen to the residents. I've been listening to them for a long time. I don't want to say double the time that you have, but thereabouts. What I will say is that the same complaints keep going on: garbage, 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 traffic, 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 overdevelopment. And yes, people love this town, which is why I'm sure that Carl is here, is the reason why I'm here, because we love this town and we want to make sure that we protect it for the future generations and for the present generations. This is really important. That's why we're running. I'm sure that's why you're running too, because that's what we're about. And well, I'm about that, and I'm not going to diss you on this one, but I might diss you on other ones. No, seriously, the reality is we need to do that, and we need to listen to the community. I expect that, Carl, regardless of what happens, you're going to be coming out and helping do some cleanups with us when we do them.
Sure. I mean, I've worked with the mayor's cleanup on some things when I was with, my son was in travel soccer. We've done the mayor's cleanup and whatnot for garbage cleanup. I think that's very important.
Sure, sure. And I know you kind of asked a little question there, but you get a minute if you'd like to add some additional comments.
No, I think for that question, I think I've said what I need to say. Again, I like to listen to all sides of the argument, and I think that's the way we come up with real solutions in this town, is we work together, listen to each other.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, gang, we're at the end, and it's your chance to speak to your voters, speak to the residents of Ward 6. So our closing statements are 2-minute statements. There's no additional comments or anything afterwards, so we want to give you guys the opportunity to be able to speak directly to those that you're going to be appealing to. And as we've been going through, Nina, you have the first opportunity to state your closing statement.
Okay, so you guys already know my name, Nina Jocknowitz. I've lived in this town 25 years, and nearly 8 years of the time I've been attending the council meetings as a resident, listening to excuses for failing to prioritize what matters to our residents. And when given an opportunity to speak and stand up for what our community wants, I've asked tough questions, and they've shirked their responsibilities. It's a problem. We need to change that. That's why I'm running. I want to make sure that the voters and the community gets their voice. I also think it's important that we organize in-person community meetings, something that's not happening. That's the way you can listen to your community, our community. I don't need to listen to the other side. I will tell you that folks who know me know that within my community of people, I have people on all sides of the political aisle, so I'm not worried about other side. We're all one family. But I will work to stabilize taxes, protect our open space from being sold off to warehouses, and push for the township departments to support our homeowners and our businesses. And above all, I'll fight against the very poor planning that I've been seeing over and over again, the overdevelopment that's threatening our township character. My commitment is to our fiscal responsibility, a meaningful community engagement, ongoing support to the wildlife that I do a lot of work on. And I hope that you folks are going to make a decision to vote for me, because I have the heart and the experience to represent you. And I'll ask you for you to vote, because I will make sure that we have together a better future. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. And Carl, your closing statement.
Okay. Well, first I want to thank you for hosting this. This has been a great experience, and thank you, Nina. Appreciate it for being here. I want to focus on the positive. This is a great town we live in. We do a lot of great things, with fiscal responsibility. Like I said, with the less amount that we get per dollar, the amount of programs we offer, and again, I hope to expand that. Someday if I get elected, I'd like to expand that. Want to keep that AA bond rating that we have, so that these developers that do come in and build businesses and make that economic activity better, that we're able to do that. I want to be, and I just want to say this to the voters, I want to be your advocate. I want to be your voice on the council. We may not agree on everything, but I will still represent you no matter what party you are, no matter what your beliefs are. I will represent you on that council. And I will do my best for Ward 6. And I apologize, I'm a little nervous. And I want to just keep with some of the good things that have been happening in town. And if you vote Republican, vote column B down the line. And I look forward to seeing everybody on the campaign trail still and on Election Day.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Nina. It has been a pleasure to moderate the two of you and listen to both your hearts, your vision, your goals. I think you're going to give the voters a tough time picking between the two of you, but the one thing I don't think anyone's going to doubt is that you guys care about Old Bridge and that you want to see
100%.
what happens best for it. So again, this is our Ward 6 Council debate, the conclusion of it. None of this would be possible without the amazing people here at Old Bridge TV.
Yes,
So again, I want to do a shout out to the executive producer and the magic behind it all, which is Amy and Jacob in the back, and we have Kate on our timer. So keeping us all in line. They did a great job today. We've been in the studio for probably a little bit longer than I wanted to, but this is what democracy is all about.
Yep.
Listening to everybody and giving the voters what they need, all the information that they need to make the most informed decision for the best and betterment of Old Bridge. So again, I'm David Hernandez. It's been a tremendous honor to be here with the two of you and all of the council candidates for the Old Bridge election of 2025. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.